Okay, so I got this question from a patron, and it's a good one. He said that I referred to going out in the wilderness with a Bible and a shotgun. Uh, Pretty fitting as I just got back from the wilderness, the Bitterroot Wilderness and Clearwater National Forest. Beautiful area. However, this time I did not take a shotgun, as the main goal was to just go reconnoitering, do some recon, and spend some time with the wife, spend some quality time with the wife. And one of her love languages is quality time and quality conversation. Knowing that, I didn't imagine I'd be doing a lot of hunting, so I only took a sidearm. Because the plan was not to kill everything I needed for food, with whether that be, hunting or fishing and foraging, but to actually buy food and bring it into the wilderness. I think they call that glamping. Just kidding. But normally I do like to just go in the wilderness. And my go-to, as I've alluded to before and said before, is a shotgun. Because it's so flexible, right? My goal is to put food on the table, I don't know what that's going to be, right? That could be a dove, that could be a robin, that could be a quail, it could be a goose, it could be a deer, it could be an elk, could be a couple of groundhogs for my companion Alexander Hamilton. And that, again, is the great thing about the shotgun. There's really nothing else that can do that. Yeah, a 22 can kill a deer or an elk, but we're not talking about poaching. We're talking about survival situations. And when I go out in the wilderness, I'm usually hiking and walking. And if I get a shot at a deer, a lot of times it's a jump shot. If I'm going out hunting and I'm going out hunting deer or elk, I'm taking a dedicated deer or elk rifle. But if I'm literally crossing mountains or hiking mountain ranges in the wilderness, I don't know what I'm going to see. I don't know when I'm going to see it. I got to be ready. And although I have stalked close to many deer and shot many deer with a handgun, and I can certainly do that, that's a different thing. That's would be what I'm doing. And I can certainly do that with a shotgun. You could also do that with a 22, but not to the extent of shooting like a jumping deer that you can with a shotgun. Which is a lot of times the shots that you get when you're hiking or just scouting out an area. A lot of times that animal is Oscar Mike, right? It's on the move. And again, what if I don't see a deer? What if, I get a couple of doves, a couple of quail, a grouse? A grouse is a great meal. That's a great dinner. I can eat the meat, dog can eat the carcass. It's a great meal. Grouse are all over the place a lot of times in the places I go. Ducks and geese also are a great source of calories and good healthy fat. So that's why I like the shotgun to start. That being said, if I'm packing for a wilderness trip, I have some generalities of what I'll take for the shotgun. However, I would encourage you to tailor this towards what you do and where you go. If you live in, let's say, Louisiana, that's going to be a far different kit than what I'm doing here in Idaho, or even what I might do in Alaska or Oregon or Montana. That's where I just was. That's where the Bitterroot Range is, the Bitterroot Wilderness in Montana. Now, if you decide that you want to shoot a lot of smaller birds, you may want to bring some of the smaller shot. Like we alluded to, 7.5 is pretty good. That's a pretty all-around one. If you decide what is mostly in your area to eat is doves and quail. And for instance, when I was in the Sonoran Desert or, the Mojave Desert, the desert southwest, there are deer there are pronghorn and stuff there, but the vast majority of the stuff there is fowl, right? So a lot of that small shot there makes sense. So again, tailor it to what you want. A lot of people think the shotgun is not great for survival because the ammo is heavy, and the ammo is fairly heavy. But if you're going out for a couple of days to a couple of weeks, how many animals do you think you're going to be shooting? Especially how many deer do you think you're going to be shooting? One, right? A deer will last you a long time. If you're in warm weather, you probably don't even want to shoot a deer because you're not going to be able to preserve it. But if it's chilly to cool somewhere out west, you can easily preserve a deer, usually just by smoking it, hanging it. They last a while if you gut them and hang them right away. So you need a couple of slugs for bear defense, and for maybe a long shot on a deer, you need, I'd say 10 rounds of number 4 buck is probably plenty. You want to have a little bit extra in case, again, that defensive scenario. You may decide you want a little bit heavier buckshot, a double-aught or even a triple-aught buck. And my go-to, again, is the number 6 shot. I'll probably have the most of that because it's the most broad spectrum for all the small game. Again, a little bit big for a dove, but certainly will kill a dove. A little bit small for ducks and geese. It'll certainly kill ducks and geese, and if I really need to eat one, I can use a number 4 buck. That's basically it. I like a semi-auto or a pump. Either one is fine for hunting or this kind of scenario, really. And again, if you wanted to go with the 20 gauge to save weight on gun and ammo, certainly nothing wrong with that. I have one for that very reason. I still often just take the 12 gauge. I'm all about saving weight, but gun and ammo, if I'm taking one long gun and ammo, I'm probably willing to pack a little bit of extra weight. And the more important part of that equation, Bible. My go-to EDC Bible is the New King James. I often will have a smaller version that's the complete Bible that is also in my pack. I thought this time about bringing the Kindle because I could have several translations of the Bible, which I like. In my house, I like to go back and forth. And I do have a Kindle for reading when my wife's asleep. I tend to be more of a night owl. She tends to be more of a morning person. So oftentimes I'll read in bed at night after she's asleep. I thought about bringing the Kindle just because it's so lightweight and handy, and the battery on that thing lasts a really long time. I decided not to. Just a regular Bible in my pack. But that's a good thing to think about. Maybe if you're not talking about the end of the world apocalypse, you're going for long treks in the wilderness, that Kindle makes a lot of sense. Even my small compact Bible, I think, weighs more than that Kindle. And I could have a couple of versions of the Bible and a couple of other books if I wanted other stuff on there to read. Anyway, just some thoughts on that since you asked. I appreciate you. Appreciate your support. And you and all the other patrons. I'll try and get this out sometime soon. Have a blessed day.